Well, this is going to be an interesting little project. As I understand it, the request is to see if it could be made to run. And if so, then we'll talk about whether or not it will be converted to street use or be left as an off-road play in the dirt bike. Apparently it played in the dirt quite a bit. It's actually a BSA B50. It's wearing a Triumph tank, so that could be a little confusing. It's still running points, which is a good thing if you're not running a battery and don't want any lights. I don't like points. They're a pain in the butt to adjust, but I'm very good at it, so it sort of doesn't matter. Clean the carburetor, change the oil. See if it sparks. Then we'll see. The wiring is a disaster. It's been put together on the fly, probably by several different people. And I would feel best fixing all that before I even try to start this thing. This is a good place to put a battery. I can put a battery box right here on this support and put a small battery on it. If we put a battery on it, then we can run an electronic ignition. Because I like electronic ignitions to have the battery backup, a big bag full of electrons, so you don't have to keep the RPMs up real high all the time and worry about the bike stalling. So, the rear fender, I thought it was plastic, but it's actually metal. It's split. I can see about getting it welded. If it's going to be a competition bike, we can get that welded just fine. No tail light, so I'd have to buy some sort of aftermarket tail light and put it on here somehow. It has a wire. Oh goody, a wire going back there. There's some sort of lash up here on the brake pedal. Have to figure that out. Once again, here's your wiring. It's interesting. It comes out of the alternator, goes right up to the rectifier. There's a condenser up there for the ignition. Probably running 6 volts with no regulator. We'll talk about that. It's got an interesting vent tube coming out of the primary, which makes me wonder if the engine is not venting into the primary and then out up here to some sort of little breather, and a tube here that's going somewhere. I'll have to figure that out. Once again, the wiring up here is just a joy to behold. Not sure exactly what's going on there. Might be a kill switch up here somewhere. I don't see it. But anyway, we'll have to do something with this wiring before I can even try to start the bike. This switch is probably just on-off for one beam, no high-low. For a dirt bike, that's no big deal. If we want to go to street bike, we can talk about having a high-low beam installed, which basically means I'm going to rewire this bike from scratch. The tires are knobbies, they're old, they'll be replaced. If it's going to be a street bike, we'll put some K70s on it. Those are a nice dual-purpose bike. If he's going to go with competition, we'll get something a little bit more brutal. What else to say? Let's walk around here. Let's see what we see. We do have an oil leak. I just found it. It's coming out of the Kickstarter right there. You can actually see the oil coming down with the bike vertical. It's coming down right there and dripping off the frame. So, interesting. I'll have to put a seal in here. You just never know. Got a nice wide open pipe. Really no need to do anything with that if it's going to be an off-road bike. And the bike came with a few goodies, which are just fascinating. Over here, we've got a number plate for one side of the bike, some gaskets, a really just, that's a lovely air cleaner. we'll probably replace that filter. And only one of the two plates for the air filter, so if we want to use that, we'll find the other plate. Headlight bulb that this actually looks good, but it draws too much current for a bike with no battery. Some bits and pieces from an exhaust system, none of which go to this motorcycle. An old obsolete alternator that I think is really cool. I might hang that on the wall. And a clutch cable that might be for this bike. None of this stuff looks promising. So here we are, getting ready to do the audit on this bike and estimate what parts are needed before I can really start to work on it. So that's where we are. And the fun just never stops.